Okay, Guerrilla Talks.
はい。
Art Asia Pacific Guerrilla Talks are a series of casual talks with collectors, artists, architects, critics, museum directors, and they will continue until Sunday afternoon. Joining us now for a Guerrilla Talk is a young Japanese collector whose name is Oishi Tetsuyuki. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for fighting the Hong Kong traffic. We're running a little bit late, sorry. To begin with, I think I'd like to basically ask you how you became a collector. I know you're quite young, and you work in business consulting. How does a business consultant become interested in contemporary art?
People asked me like that. Okay.
Can you hear? Yes. Can you hear?
No, not working.
This one's. Take this one.
All right. Okay, many people asking why the business consultant making the collection. So to tell the truth, my father is a calligrapher artist. Chinese calligrapher.
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 Shodo.
Artist. What do you say in Chinese? Shodo.
书法，他是书法家。
书法 artist.
Yes.
So when I am a child, I am always he is always in the home and making his works. I'm grew up with seeing he making the artworks.
Can I ask where you grew up? Were you living in Tokyo?
Living in Tokyo.
In Tokyo, I see. I've heard that you grew up in an area of Tokyo called Kiyosumi Shirakawa.
Kiyosumi Shirakawa. I born in Kiyosumi Shirakawa.
It's very lucky.
Very lucky place. Yeah. Do you know the Kiyosumi Shirakawa? That many people.
Maybe I think some people probably. Has anyone been to Tokyo?
Tokyo. The Kiyosumi Shirakawa is the heart of the art place in Tokyo, like MoMA Museum.
There is a contemporary art
museum there, and many galleries there.
But they're quite recent, actually. They haven't been there for many decades. It's a new phenomenon. So when did you start going to these museums and galleries? When
15 years ago, the Contemporary Art Museum in Tokyo is built.
Yes.
And near from my home, I went to many exhibitions to that museum. So
Right.
I'm making more familiar with the art.
Right.
And 5 years ago, and famous gallery come to my home, so Koyama Gallery or Takaishi Gallery, like
Right.
that. I went to that gallery exhibition so many times, so making this more familiar with art. And then I start to collection the arts.
What led to you to begin collecting? Was there something that you decided you? What was your first work, for example, that you decided to collect?
First what?
Was it a painting,
Painting.
illustration?
First work I bought is a painting. The big painting of a young Japanese artist, Tomoko Nagai.
Right, right. And I have to admit, I have some insight into your taste. Tomoko Nagai and like Rei Sato and
Sato,
yeah. Are you interested in any particular type of painting? I mean, it seems like there's many young female Japanese painters in your collection.
Most of my collection is young and female artists, like kawaii, and cute characters,
like Kai Kiki people?
like that people. But I have another serious artists like photography and installation and videos.
I see. What kind of, collecting photography is always a bit of a challenge for people. And I know that galleries dealing just with photography, even in Hong Kong, are very rare. And even in Japan, which certainly is a photography country, there's not many galleries dealing just with photography. How do you collect it? What is it for something that you use in your home, or are you planning to make your collection public?
I saw not you. Sorry, what you say?
Do you? In your office. So your office is like Oishi Bijutsukan. Like it's a Oishi museum.
Yeah.
Nice. Can I ask then, what's your relationship, for example, with the artists? Is it important for you to meet artists and to visit their studios, or do you go just to see their exhibitions?
Yeah. I'm not used to visit their studios, but always talk to the artist or make some drink.
Is it working? Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It just has to be kind of close.
I many times have a dinner with the artist and talk about their works.
Right. Right.
That is so important. I understand their working.
And do you think your taste is changing? Is your interest in the types of art which is attracting you, is that changing since you started collecting?
Changing. So I don't know. Making changes. So I become the more interested. More many media, more many types of the art.
Right. Like you mentioned, performance, installation.
Performance.
How do you collect a performance artwork, for example?
I never collected performance artists, but I have some installations. Installations.
Wow. Can you describe any for us? Like what some people might not actually be familiar.
Like small pieces of the wood. In this wood, they printed the photographies
on the wood.
On the wood, like
right.
Long pieces, small pieces. So there is the 20,000 pieces. Small pieces.
20,000 pieces of wood.
Wood in the printed photographies.
Wow.
And
is it the same image on every piece?
Different images. And God on the floor. The band
spread all over the floor.
All with
right. And is that a work which you have installed, for example, in your office? Do people?
No, I can no space. I have no space to display that.
I see. So what do you want to do with those? Like, for example, your video works or these installation works. What do you plan to do with these works that you've collected, but maybe you can't put them on a wall or put them on a table or something?
Do you know the digital picture frame?
Yes.
The small picture frame, digital frame like that. I put on a video art on it.
Right.
And put on my wall for the 24 hours.
I see. So you're curating a picture frame.
Picture frame.
With your own work. That sounds like a great idea. I hope some galleries can hear this idea. I'm going to ask maybe a slightly different question. As a collector, I know you're a business consultant and you're writing books about business.
Yes.
So what's the relationship now between your collecting and your activity collecting, coming to art fairs, and your business?
There's no. I think there's no relationship.
No relation.
But I personally, I wrote books. Some books. Writing the books is somehow creative working. So there's a relationship to the making the art.
You mean you see your business as a creative
Yeah.
type of practice?
Yes.
Mm.
And I have all my companies. Making the company, making the business is somehow the creative process. So I think there is a relationship to the art.
Right. I see. Do you actually make any artwork yourself, or are you taking pictures, for example, digital pictures or photos for your photo frames?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll go back to your taste for your interest in young female Japanese painters, for example. I think recently they're also quite popular with some overseas collectors as well. What are you interested in that type of work? For example, like painters who have been involved with Kaikai Kiki. What do you see in their work which you identify with? What do you like about it?
What do you like about it? It is so difficult to say. So, can I? It is I think that the whole world is going to be flattened. There is no border or and people. Can I say in Japanese?
Okay, we can try and.
国とか個人がそのなんていうんだろうな国とかに所属してたのがそのボーダーがなくなってきてですね。
Okay, I'll just say that. So this idea that countries will cease to exist and your identification with a nationality will stop.
So merging nationality and identity is merging.
So identities are merging more global.
More global. So I think that is important, and it's important to the personal expression, personal idea, personal feelings.
Right.
It's more important.
And do you think that type of expression is stronger in the work of young female Japanese artists, in particular?
Particular young female Japanese artists only like to only make that he only
they make this style. I see. Interesting.
彼女たちが本当に好きなもの、個人的に好きなものを描いてる。
So these young women are often painting and depicting things which they really individually, personally like, rather than representing something else. I see. And is your what about the photography which you collect? Is that a similar? You said it's a serious.
Serious. Haruki Maiko.
Right.
Do you know?
Yes.
That it's very conceptual.
Yes. Right. Okay. I'd like to ask you a question. People who are art historians or critics make their own sort of interpretation of contemporary Japanese art. What do you think? What's the direction that contemporary Japanese art is going in? From your perspective as a collector, are things changing? Do you see changes in the type of work that's being produced, especially in the last 2 years, for example?
I don't think not Japanese art is not changing. They are going to more personal, more interested in the personal things like that.
Right. So it's more about individual
sort of
life. I see. Is there a danger that it could be too much, like that it's too personal, that's too closed? Do you think that could be a problem?
I don't know, but I like that.
You like that? And will you open a museum one day, do you think? Or what do you hope to do?
Yeah.
You heard it here first. No.
Yeah, I hope.
You hope to?
I hope.
And why is that? What do you want to do if you share your collection? What do you hope to share with people through your collection?
Yes.
What kind of ideas or?
That is. I have no idea from now.
Yeah. What about? Would you ever consider giving your collection to a public museum?
Public museum.
I know this is not very common in Japan.
In the future, and in the future, when I have a big collection, I give my collection to the public.
Wow,
that is.
Do you think that public museums? I mean, there are. If you're not familiar, there are a lot of museums in Japan. Probably too many museums.
Yeah, I think too many museums.
Right. What do they need to do? Why do you say too many? I said that too, but why do you think there are too many? And what should they do to change or improve?
I think they are not to collecting the contemporary Japanese artists. They
what do they collect?
What they collect,
impressionist work.
Impressionist works, or old masters' works, or some like shadow and
calligraphy and
the ceramics.
Like. Yeah.
The few museums are collecting the young Japanese artists. There's no good collection in the museum.
Are there any public museums which you do like, or which you think have influenced your understanding of contemporary Japanese art, or is it really from the gallery sort of side?
Sorry, I have no idea. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Finally, you're here in Hong Kong. Are you also interested in other than Japanese artists? Are there any? For example, are there any works by foreign artists?
I like Ryan Gander. Gander. I like very much.
I saw his work here actually.
Yeah, excellent works.
I see. Is that type of? I mean, he also does a lot of conceptual work, I think.
Yes.
That's the sort of work that you might be interested in the future for foreign artists as well.
Yeah.
Non-Japanese artists. Okay. And is this your first time to Hong Kong?
Yeah. No, 3 times.
Wow. How has the fair changed?
Fair changed, so it's going to make it bigger and bigger, and the Western galleries are coming
from Europe and America, and
American,
etc. Australia,
famous galleries like the White Cave patterns.
Right.
To making, I think it's going to be more international, but not under.
Regional. Not regional.
Not. It's going to be not regional.
Right.
Not. I mean, so that in the Singapore Fair art.
Yes, at Art Stage.
Singapore is so interesting because the South Asian galleries many South Asian galleries coming.
Right. South Asia, Southeast Asia. I see. What about, Tokyo Art Fair, I know, has also been developing.
Very developing.
It's developed. Do you have any suggestions for Tokyo? I know that some people are critical that the art fair is quite limited. Is your vision of an internationalizing world, without borders, is this something which you think is realistic in Japan, for example?
Some gallery from Taipei and Seoul is coming to the Tokyo Art Fairs. Next is the South Asian art gallery like Indonesia, or the Singapore, Malaysia, and welcome to coming to Tokyo.
I see.
Yeah, that is a good idea to make it international.
Yeah, they might become more sort of.
More
There's more
international.
mixture in
Mixture in-
Tokyo. What about outside of Tokyo? We're going to have to move on to our next speaker soon, I think. But I'd like to ask, outside of Tokyo, are you also interested in? I know that Kyoto, there's some galleries opening,
Uh-huh.
and do you see differences between the type of work which is being produced in
Uh-huh.
places like Kyoto compared to artists based in Tokyo?
Kyoto is more like they have this long history in the Kyotos, so they have the なんだろうな。what can I say? なんて言ったら Okay, なんて言うかな。Sorry.
So they have a history
Their
and tradition
history,
sort of
tradition
behind their
is,
work.
Behind the work.
Yeah, is that influencing the contemporary work?
Yes.
Yeah. I've noticed actually that there's a sort of installation and almost like a crossover between craft work and
between
installation
in
in Kyoto.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, just last question. What do you do in Tokyo with a large collection of work? Do you have to store it somewhere? You can't keep everything in your office, I guess.
I store in my house. In my house. I have the old house building.
Nice.
Yeah. In the first floor, I store that.
Okay. All right. Humidity is a problem, so just be
Yes.
careful.
Yes.
It's the same here.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you very much for joining us to talk today. I hope to visit you in Kiyosumi Shirakawa,
yeah.
the Oishi Bijutsukan. Our next speaker will actually be also from Japan, Ida Shihoko. Please stay for that talk as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.